Let's talk about technological unemployment. What is it?
Well, my understanding is it's the theory that with increasing automation, you're going to see more and more people out of work. Like, for example, in supermarkets, self-checkout lines replacing cashiers, or robots on assembly lines replacing workers. And then the follow-on from that is structural unemployment, where people's skills don't anymore match the jobs which are available. But from what I know, this is something people have worried about at least since the Industrial Revolution.
So that would have been the Luddites smashing the automatic looms and such like, right?
Yeah. Are you a Luddite?
I don't think so. I mean, I kind of wish, but I don't think I have the energy.
Yeah, so these are the dark satanic mills that William Blake described. And they were, in fact, horrible places to work and were eloquently opposed by many, from Charles Dickens to Ruskin to William Morris, who said, "It is right and necessary that all should have work to do, which shall be worth doing and be of itself pleasant to do, and which should be done under such conditions as would make it neither over wearisome nor over anxious."
Where was the English accent?
Sorry, terrible at English accent.
I think there was also an aspect to it of the disappearance of a craft like weaving, which took a certain amount of skill. To be replaced by a machine must have been completely devastating. And similarly today, whether it's grocery store workers, truckers, warehouse workers, assembly line workers, those people whose financial security, not to mention their sense of self-worth, is being threatened by the impacts of automation. It just seems that there is something plain wrong about people being replaced by machines.
Yeah, I think there is a kind of technological utopianism that imagines a world where people don't have to work as hard and there's more time for leisure. This is the idea that work is a curse, or as Tocqueville described it, a disease. But I agree with you that a world without work is more of a nightmare than a utopia, because what do you replace it with? One of the best and most horrifying Pixar movies ever was WALL-E. You ever see that?
No.
You should watch it. It's really good.
I should.
But it has robots doing all the work, and it has humans as these gigantic immobile babies, like floating around on these sort of rocket chairs, and they're drinking nutrients or like milkshakes out of sippy cups. and to me, that's worse than unemployment. It's horrifying because it's not what we are made for. Human beings are hardwired to create and to work hard. So even putting aside the fact that automation only serves to make the rich richer and leaves many in poverty, technological innovation runs the real risk of trivializing this very important aspect of life.
Agreed. So how do you resist? How do you, as Neil Postman puts it, and I quote him a lot, I feel like, in this video series, but he puts it well, how do you refuse to accept efficiency and increase profitability as the most important goal? This might be a good place to talk about our places of work. A guiding principle for us here on the Bruderhof is that any business we run exists for the benefit of the community, meaning the people who live in the community and not the other way around. That's why, if you look at our places of work, there are two seemingly contradictory things that stand out. The first one is advanced labor-saving systems and processes, and the second is what you might call planned inefficiencies.
Let's talk about the first one first. Some types of work, I don't think anyone will argue, are simply very mindless and boring. And refusing to automate such tasks on principle is really just an insult to human dignity and creativity. It's also the case that we wouldn't be able to support ourselves with our current businesses without adapting to technological change. So that's why, for example, if you visit one of our wood shops, you'll see an automated wood lacquering system that dramatically speeds up a process that used to be done by hand, very repetitive and physically demanding.
And maybe also dangerous.
Yeah.
So to the second point, however, there are places where so-called inefficiencies is how we maintain a communal workspace where old and young can work side by side and learn and be inspired by one another. It's in these places where the work is there to benefit people and increasing profitability is not the primary motive. You can also see this in the way the assembly line is broken down into discrete tasks, which allows for all members of the community to come in at one time, whether they're office workers, medical professionals, or whatever, and enjoy fellowship and working together, which is just as important as worshiping or enjoying leisure time together. And these discrete work tasks are work literally anyone can do. I mean, even me, from the most capable to the oldest and those with disabilities.
Yeah, it truly is work for all. And as a side note, I would mention the work is additionally rewarding because you're making products for kids and for people with disabilities. But two, because people in management and people on the assembly line both aren't getting paid, because one of our vows as members is to give up money and property, there's really no incentive to make the businesses bigger than they have to be. And a great incentive to make the workshops places where anyone, be it folks with disabilities, short-term guests, or whoever, can find a job and be part of the team. Because working together is really how we put what we say we believe into practice.
Right, and along with that, it's a place where you actually want to be and go to.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. So just because you said people in management, I want to say that the managerial class is an awful invention that really is an anathema to community life. Would you agree?
Yeah. I mean, titles are sometimes necessary to divide up the work, but it really is at bottom just a team working together.
And that's really the answer to the problem, I guess you could say, of technological innovation that replaces people. There's nothing wrong with it as long as it's in the context of a narrative whose theme is restoration of dignity, overcoming of injustice and inequality, as opposed to seeing technological progress and improvement as the highest good.
And that, in essence, is the Christian narrative. Well, that's all for this video, and we'll see you next time.
Rich, I really think we should talk about, we've talked a lot about problems with technology, but maybe we should also discuss alternatives.
Alternatives?
Yeah.
That would be another video. So what would that be? It would be things we do when we're not using technology?
Right, because I feel like, a lot of people just think that our life lends itself to spending all our time in nature. We actually have jobs, we have this work that we've been discussing, and we have to employ technology. So how are we intentional about coming away from that or
leaving work at work?
Yeah.
That's the topic for another video.